The way you look, the way you interact, and the things you've done to help others. When you get your brand right, your industry understands instantly the value that you bring to the table. You're a thought leader. You're the high achiever in the room. And you are the industry icon that everyone turns to when we need to find that way forward. Because in a world where everybody's stepping up, you need to fly. Join the Industry Icon program with SpeakOnstage. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Welcome to SpeakOnstage. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you with me. As always, today's show is very special. Every show is special, but this one is specifically special because it's all about becoming an industry icon. Now, SpeakOnstage, if you've never seen it before, I go through lots of different business models. I talk about lots of different areas of industry. I talk about what might grow, what might shrink, what might be important for you to learn. I go through lots of different stuff. And I do urge people to consider changing their game. Why? Well, because right now is the best opportunity. There's a gap of maybe 6 to 12 months where you can become a really high impact influencer in your own niche and your own industry before the world gets over COVID. Now, I'm not saying this in a horrible way, by the way. I'll explain more about it later on, but we really have a finite window. And if you're interested in positioning yourself really well, growing your business, connecting with people, and being seen as a huge thought leader in your industry, then this is the show for you. Stick around. I'm going to be explaining a ton of different things that will make you think differently about yourself and also give you a ton of opportunities that maybe you hadn't thought about where you could move forward and do stuff that just didn't seem to be your bag. But when you understand how they could be, you'll see the opportunities that are available for you. In today's show, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, not least the fact that there's a huge impact on the movie industry, on the TV industry, on the influencer industry, and we'll be talking as well about the live streaming industry. And what do you mean by the live streaming? Well, this is what I'm doing now. I'm live streaming. I'm sharing with you a ton of ideas, and it's in real time, and it's going out live. It's not a podcast, even though it will turn into a podcast. It's a live broadcast. Now that has a real impact because it means there's a sense of urgency. People are with you in real time. And also, every platform rewards you when you go live. It pushes you higher up the content ladder so you can do a lot more and have a lot more reach without even looking at the Google ads or the Facebook ads or the LinkedIn ads or the YouTube ads. When you put them on top, it's another load of icing to the cake. So why should you be interested in doing that? Well, first of all, we're broadcasting live onto Twitch, onto YouTube, onto LinkedIn, onto Facebook, onto Periscope, and onto Twitter. We will add some stuff onto Instagram later on. So that means instantly, everything I say is going out to different audiences all over. Does that mean I have to tailor-make my message for each of them? Not necessarily. Because if you're happy in your own skin, and remember this is about speaking on stage, this is about your ability to create your own brand and be effective in the niche that you want to be in, but you don't have to worry too much about what it actually means that you are working with any particular audience because they will find you. If people don't like me, they'll just disappear. Now, here's the thoughts. I'd love to have your thoughts. I'd love to have your comments. Your likes and shares are also very powerful for me, and it's great because I can interact with you, but also make sure you subscribe to connect with me on whatever platform you're on. I hate the term follow, but I didn't create the term. Follow means that basically, you're not following me, I'm just sharing information with you. But if you follow or connect or subscribe or friend me on Facebook, whatever it takes, it means whenever I go live with a new bulletin, you'll get access to it before anybody else does. And even in this show, I'm going to give you a special free gift very shortly, so stick around and make sure you have some of that because you'll love it. So, let's talk about some nuts and bolts. I'm going to be sharing with you about the problems that are inherent in the COVID world, the huge opportunities for you and your business. And if you're saying, Dave, I've lost my job, even better, because this will be perfect. Or if you're saying, Dave, I've got a job, I don't really need to do anything else, this is fantastic for you as a side hustle. You can learn in the next 45 to 60 minutes something that could change your life forever. And not only will it make that huge impact for you, it could also be a way of guaranteeing that you've got a stream of income forever. Something that's your own little factory that creates impact, creates influence, and allows people to connect with you on a regular basis without you having to do more than be who you are, doing what you love. Very, very key to this. Now, I talk about this in depth in every show that I do, and I really mean it. I think the thing is, for many people, the challenge is thinking, I'm not good enough. Why would people want to be interested in watching me? What have I got to say that people would want to say? And the truth is that you have no idea who likes the stuff that you like. You just don't. So what I would recommend is what you do is give yourself a little bit more credit. You have no idea how many people would love to be connected to you. You've no idea how your little niche, your little interesting thing that you love so much, that you'd be surprised how many people would turn and say, actually, that's a really good idea. I love the way that works. You know what? I think I could do that as well. And you really can. I'm going to share with you a diagram in a second, which is going to show you what I think you should be looking at when it comes to becoming an influencer. So have a quick look at this. Right. Here's what you need to be considering. There's 3 circles here. The first one, top left, as you look at it, should say what consumers want. Okay? Then what your brand does best and what your competitor does best. Now, if you look at how this all maps out together, what you don't want to do is compete with your competitor. You want to create something that your consumers want and that you do better than anybody. But in order to do that, you've really got to consider what your brand is. So you've got to take it back a little bit and work out what it is that people are wanting from you and what it is that you think you can offer that people would have an interest in being connected with you. So let's have a quick look at this. I talk about this on many occasions, and it's a hedgehog concept. This is how you grow your brand. Now, I've already worked out how it interacts with everybody else, but there should be 3 things that come to you here. First of all, with these circles, let's look at the red one at the top. That's what are you passionate about? What do you love doing? What would you do forever that you'd never get bored of doing? And don't be rude. Well, maybe that's what you make money out of. Okay, next circle is a blue one on the side at the bottom. And it says, what are you best in the world at doing? So you've got 2 things here. What do you do brilliantly? What do you love to do? And the third thing is, what will people pay for? What drives your economic engine? Not what would you like people to pay for, what will they pay for? Let's have a look at this. I'm going to stretch out this diagram a little bit more. So let's get this again. So when you get something that you're brilliant at and what you love, but nobody wants to pay for, you can't sustain a living on it. When you get something you're brilliant at doing and also makes a lot of money but you don't like, you'll make money but you'll be bored and you'll hate your job and you hate every single day. Life's not worth it. But if you get something, again, that you love doing, that people love paying for, but you're rubbish at, it's not realistic. In the center is your win. That's what you need to be looking for. You need to find a way to do that win-win. It's actually called the hedgehog concept. If you look it up, you'll find out more about it. So with that in mind, bear for the next 20 minutes as you watch these videos, all about the impact it could have for you when you start doing that. If you lost your job, it's perfect. If you got a job but you want to do more, it's perfect. If you're wondering during a COVID world, how can I pivot into doing something I really want? And how can I take advantage of everything that's around? Excuse me. In fact, what I want to do now is I'm just going to have a very quick coffee break. Here you go. Cheers. This is for you. Needed that. Love your thoughts, love your comments, love what you're working on right now. If you are interested in doing this, by the way, I'll share with you how you can connect with me and learn how to be on the SpeakOnstage and Industry Icon program. In fact, I'm going to share that with you in a moment. What this means is that there's a lot of things that are changing around the world, and you're probably saying, yeah, but Dave, maybe not for me. Well, TV's changing. Movies are changing. Why is that? Well, in lockdown, when people have to be socially distanced, they can't get near each other. And if they've got to wear a mask, you can't wear a mask in every scene. It's going to look really weird when you're watching a soap opera and you can't hear what anybody's saying, and they're in bed miles away from each other. That's like a normal marriage, I guess. But you've got this stuff going on. So what's going to happen is nothing's going to be made for a while. You may have noticed all the big movies, the Bond movies, the Marvel movies, they're all being staggered. Wonder Woman being staggered. They're meant to be released months ago, then maybe Christmas. They might go into streaming, but the odds are that the cinemas are going to hold onto them a little bit longer. In fact, the distributors, not the cinemas. The cinemas are crying out for them because people aren't going to the cinema enough. And so what that means is they're stretching it because they realize they can't make new content, but people are going to want to watch something. So there's a little gap that's being built in the middle of all this. Are you with me on this? Now I'm going to explain where you fit into that gap because it's very fascinating when you find out. So you've got this gap where there's a lack of entertainment being made. And that means that at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, either now they'll show it all and have nothing to show later, or they'll slow it all down so people have watched it and get a little bit bored of TV, or they'll use it all up and later on there won't be enough stuff and they're just going to rush throwing reruns and whatever they held on the back burner on, or the quality of the TV shows will drop because of shows that they wanted to cancel where they just said it's not good enough and we'll say we've got nothing else, throw it out there. So that's where we fit in. That's where you get your opportunity to start thinking about where you would do stuff, because you can create your own TV show. Now the business model is fantastic. If you create your own TV show, it also means that it comes into a podcast when you get the audio. It means you get a transcription to turn it into a blog. It means you can chop it up into posts. And it means that your social media will drive itself through that just by doing a TV show. Now you're probably saying, oh Dave, I'm really nervous. You probably say, Dave, you're just about to press the wrong button. And I go, yes, you're absolutely right. I didn't mean to press the coffee button. But hey, coffee's good. Cheers. Live TV, that's what happens. Quick recovery, nobody noticed until I mentioned it. And here we are back again. So when we're talking about this, ultimately, there's a gap for you to jump in. I know you're wondering and saying, Dave, what can I talk about? Who's going to be interested in being there with me? Well, first of all, I'll train you to get up to speed. But think about what you like. Think about your own favorite subjects. Maybe you like making sandwiches. Maybe you like collecting plastic cups. Maybe you like collecting shoes or making shoes or fixing shoes. Maybe you paint model planes. Now that might seem really boring to many people, but there are people like you who are fascinated by it. If they could watch a show, watching your enthusiasm and your love for what it is that you do, and they can learn and they can do it and be part of the community, they would watch your show. So right now, everyone's being fed whatever the TV networks and radio networks, the music industry and movie industry feeds them as popular culture, with a little bit of influencers thrown in, but they could be loving what they really enjoy. And that means a step up for everybody to stay in their industry, stay in their niche, but create really interesting content that their own fan base would be created around and would pay for. Because let's face it, supposing you make bonsai trees, or supposing you look after bonsai trees and you make these little forests and put tiny little figures in it so it becomes like a big forest, and you do it on your living room table. Weird? No. It'd be really cute. It'd be a really good idea. But there would be loads of people who would love that to be done. If you don't know about Lego, Lego's entire business model, and Lego, let's face it, when I was growing up, Lego was something you didn't want to stand on. That was it. So Lego has created an incredible ethos, an incredible group of super fans who create Millennium Falcon from Star Wars or Superman or whatever it is they see, Frozen. They create all these scenes as part of the competition. And what happens is when we win the competition, Lego licenses their design and gets them out in limited editions for the super fans around the world. So it's a real kudos thing if you can win that competition. So you've got crowdsourced content that becomes limited editions that just brings the price up. It's genius, but that is a business model that sustains and will go anywhere else. Are you interested? Can you see where I'm coming from with this? Do you want to know how you can get involved in this? I've got a survey that you can do right now that will allow you to see how influential you are and see how you can grow yourself. I'll be looking at all that and more on this show. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you find it as fascinating as I do. I live and breathe this. This is Speak on Stage. Next, let's look at you as an industry icon. So the Industry Icon program has the ability for you to position yourself as the best in your industry. Now, I say the best in your industry. Remember, you're now going online. Location doesn't matter as much as your ability to go online. So, for instance, if you had, say, 100,000 people around your area that could drive into wherever a convention was going on, and they might be your particular competition or your business outsourced people or people that you could do in partnerships with or whatever it would be, your sponsors. Well, now you've got an online world with about 7 billion people you can connect with. That's it. So if you're thinking, oh no, there's not enough for me to go around, or you're thinking, well, there's too many people out there. Yes, there are, but there's so many people, there's enough for everybody. Think abundance. Don't think, oh no, it's scarcity. Think abundance. There's enough money out there, recession or no recession, for everybody, especially when you go deep diving into what you really do specifically well. So let me show you now what you can do as part of what my gift to you. You can do a survey. So if you go to my website, SpeakOnstage.com, you can see a picture of me. There you go, good looking guy. Hello, me, how are you? Well, he's playing hard to get, which doesn't happen very often. But what you do is if you look here, in fact, look over there, you see it? I'll just point it with, there you go. It says Industry Icon. It's a gold button. Click on that. When you click on that, it opens up this page. Now, when you scroll down, you'll see this button, Take the Free Survey. Okay? Click on that button, which is over here. Press it, and it opens up 20 questions. Now, in 10 minutes, you can do this. And it asks you what you need to do to be influential, what you need to do about your brand, about your speaking, about your relationship with the market, and also whether you believe yourself to be strong enough. It highlights the things that you do, the things that you should do, the things that you don't do, the things that you must learn, and gives you a score where you can just score yourself out of 40. With that, then you can make a decision on what to do next. You can get the roadmap and your brand building roadmap to start working instantly, or connect with me for a 10-minute conversation. I mean, literally, when I finish this show today, I've got back-to-back people to do sessions with about whether they could join my Industry Icon program and be coached by me to launch their own TV show or even just post better. The thing is, not everyone has to have a TV show. That's at the highest level. But you could really be influential in your brand. You can grow yourself in your industry. You can be sponsored by your company and not just earn a wage, but earn from the sponsorship, becoming an influential person in your company. In fact, if you're a decision maker, you can train your entire team to do this. And suddenly, instead of paying for expensive influencers, you've got a team of micro-influencers who already work on your brand that you can just use all the time. Brilliant, eh? So with that, that's what you have to do. Very simple. Once you've done it, then these opportunities will be available for you. And I work with people. We're not going to go through this too much right now. But when you're positioned as an industry icon, people go to you all the time to get you to speak on stage at their events or online events. I'm teaching people digital stagecraft. The ability to work with Zoom or Meets or Teams or any platform, go live and create more mystique, more followers about what you do. And there is a definite skill to it. When you're doing stuff online, you're a broadcaster like CNN or Fox. When you're on stage, you're an entertainer and you've got to engage people in a different way. I teach people how to do that. But once you've got that, you can attract money to you, attract people to you, and certainly your self-esteem goes through the roof. And I know you might think, well, Dave, I'm really shy. I don't really want to do all that. That's fine. You don't have to. But while you're thinking that, somebody else is doing it. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you when we go into our reaching out section, some videos all about how the industries are changing. 3 videos. One about Hollywood, one about the British movie and TV industry, and one about how China's influencers are working on demand and making millions. All they do is stream and talk. Does that interest you as much as it interests me? You're in the right place. I love your thoughts. Make sure you get yourself a cup of tea or coffee or biscuits and stick around, because I guarantee today is worth watching. It's Speak on Stage. In a perfect world, life would be the same. We'd be living the new normal, and we'd just resume the game. But it isn't perfect, it's what it is. That doesn't mean that you have to be. We've lost friends, we've lost money, might have even lost family. Now we have better opportunities than ever before. Reinvent yourself, grow your personal brand, connect to many, many more. Go from 1 million to 1 billion. Find your voice, become an industry icon, and make success your choice.
What about TV shows that depend on studio audiences? Well, Rachel Smith has more on that. Hey, Rachel.
Hey there, Kev. It is going to be a lot more quiet on the set as Hollywood gets back to work.
I really hope that we get to a point where we can come back together safely.
It's so crucial, the audience reaction to the dancing, that's something we would love to keep.
And we got 200 people in our audience. We'll never have that again. I want to go back to do our show.
From Wendy to Kelly and Ryan, everyone's expecting big changes.
Even if we have no audience, I can't wait to be in the same room with you.
A spokesperson for Live tells ET they'll be back from the studio without an in-studio audience on September 8th.
'Cause I give you all.
John Legend, one of the first to film a music video in LA, so did Snoop Dogg. And when it comes to what happens indoors on sets, an entertainment industry task force released guidelines recommending no packed makeup trailers and staggered meal times.
The buffet tables with, bagels and everything is not going to be something we're going to be seeing on sets anytime soon.
But what about those love scenes?
Love scenes on soaps are just the worst, right? So if they're gonna cut those, I'm totally fine with it.
There are no published guidelines yet as far as how to do intimate scenes. I have no doubt that we will be hearing more in that area.
CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful is the first broadcast series to go back to work. Don Diamont posted this pic from the set as filming starts tomorrow. Throughout Hollywood, many casts and their crew can expect to get tested 1 to 3 times per week and have daily temperature checks, all monitored by a production-appointed COVID-19 compliance officer.
There should probably be daily testing, honestly, because of the how contagious this is.
You know what? I'm making the call.
Absolutely, there are plans to resume.
Chris Pratt in Bryce Dallas Howard's Jurassic World Dominion is the first major studio film to go back to work. They'll resume shooting July 6th at Pinewood Studios in the UK. The actors must quarantine there for 2 weeks and will be tested beforehand. Since Chris's wife Catherine is due this summer, that could impact their time with the new baby.
I appreciate that the folks who are making Jurassic are doing it, with their eyes wide open and really understand what we're facing here.
We will be tested about 2 weeks prior to arriving to the set.
Kayron Moore from BET's The Oval told us her boss, Tyler Perry, put out his own 30-page set of guidelines. Tyler's turning his Atlanta studios into Camp Quarantine, where they'll all live together when they return in July.
It almost sounds like summer camp or boarding school or something like that.
Exactly. We'll be quarantined for 14 days after the second test once we're on campus. And then once we're given the all clear, then we can, get to the business of work.
Welcome to the world-famous Tyler Perry Studios here in Atlanta.
We've been to Tyler's 330-acre campus. It's bigger than Warner Brothers, Disney, and Paramount Studio lots combined.
It'll be a lot of fun. I'm praying that, he'll make history with this being a success.
So there you go. You can see exactly what an impact this has. When we're talking about all those actors and all those directors and TV producers saying we're going back to work and, we get tested, what happens when your main character or your main actor is tested and shown positive? Now, this is not going to go away, and hopefully the vaccine will speed up the process of making it go away, because we're now talking about vaccines being available, but it's not a definite. If you've got this multi-million-dollar TV company and you've got production starting, your main actor is out. Do you rewrite the script around them? How can you do that? How can you have a Pirates of the Caribbean without a pirate in it? The main pirate. Well, that's another story. But you get the general idea about how this is such a big challenge. So let's look now at what's happening in the British movie industry and media and TV to deal with the same problem. Hope you find this fascinating. Stick around. It gets even more interesting. Speak on Stage.
And action.
It's an extraordinary time for film and television production, and essentially there's over £1 billion worth of production currently sitting mothballed around the UK. Production protocols are a roadmap, a framework that we're trying to develop so that every aspect of film and television gets into recovery mode.
Welcome back to Speak on Stage. I'm Dave Crane, sharing with you there what's happening in the movie and TV industry in America and in the UK. And so what you've got there is a real challenge. I don't see how easily this recovers. Hopefully things will get back to normal at some point, but it will be the new normal. But what you've got right now is a gap. While the big shows that everybody loves are on break for the foreseeable future, you've got a gap of people who are enthusiasts, who are great in their own industry, who can create content. I mean, you're watching this show right now, which is proof that it's engaging enough for people to watch. And when I start bringing in videos, I start sharing content that you particularly want to see, then it's relevant to you and you'll stick around a little bit longer as a direct result. So what does this mean financially? Could you make a lot of money from doing this? Have a look at what's happening in China. They have almost created and perfected the influencer TV factory. Watch this. I love it. Fascinating stuff here on Speak on Stage.
欢迎大家来到我的直播间。This is China's new concept for e-commerce plus entertainment. It's called Entertainment. It features live streams that are generating billions of dollars each year. China is home to more than 900 live streaming platforms and over 10 million active hosts. In 2017, they brought in more than $4.5 billion in revenue.
We're in Guangzhou. We're going to visit one of the top 5 multimedia companies in the city. It's tucked away in the basement of a commercial center. Let's go check it out. Hi-Fan may be a very small company with only 40 staff, but here they train and use star bloggers or key opinion leaders to help them sell products that are worth millions of dollars every year.
这件衣服今天折后价是10，哎，我帮你们算一下，数字完全。
在哪里见过你？哇哦，欢迎我们的 Louisa。
嗨，悠悠你好。
Hello， 是你，是你。 在哪里？每天的工作就是坐在这里，化好妆，漂漂亮亮的坐在这里，然后就唱唱歌、跳跳舞，然后里面会有很多用户来看我们直播，我们就跟他们聊天，实时互动的那样。Users can sponsor the hosts by sending virtual gifts, which can be exchanged for cash.
谢谢，谢谢我龙哥，感谢我龙哥。
20-year-old Million Zhu earns about 10,000 yuan per month, about $1,500 as a live stream host. 有时候会唱唱歌，包括跳跳舞之类的，就跟大家分享一些每天的心情。玩家也会分享给我们很多有趣的事情，就相当于一个陪伴吧。我
一般是下午3点开播，然后呢到晚上2点，4个小时5个小时会休息一下。
谢谢花花。
这是一个其实蛮苦的行业，所以这是个年轻人的行业。娱
娱
乐的时间周期就比较偏短一点，一般大概6个月到1年，到一定时间以后会出现瓶颈期，要在他比较能抓住粉丝的时候，尽可能多的把他的收入和提上来。比如说我们现在在让主播在拍一些短视频，自己也在尝试写一些图文啊等等一些，就能够帮他更多的来吸引粉丝嘛。
如果你今天一整天都很不开心、很不高兴，请你不要抱怨，过来抱我吧。
这只是一个过渡吧，因为后期还是想慢慢的做到网红这个样子。目标就是通过自己的努力，然后形成标签，开网红店铺吧。淘宝女装啊，或者是美妆都 OK。
It's hoped that building up their popularity can help many of these hosts successfully transition into other sectors. Jiang and Zhu are entertainment hosts who do not sell products, but they are also commercial live streams which account for a huge part of Hyphen's revenue.
直播售货慢慢在变成一个主要的消费途径，它可以更直观的进行沟通。现在有娱乐直播的平台和电商直播的平台在模式上面慢慢在接近统一，就是更多的电商平台的直播需要娱乐化的内容。娱乐平台的话，因为你已经吸引了足够多的粉丝，所以明年的话，我们会帮红人开更多的这样的红人店铺，以体现他的专属风格。这样的话，他的粉丝也有更多的存留的一个空间。
With millions of hosts and hundreds of millions of viewers, the trend is expanding rapidly and already generating profits, at least for some.
拜拜，我爱你们。
So welcome back to Speak on Stage. I'm Dave Crane. With this, we're going to take a deep dive into the role of the influencer. Now, you may have seen the growth of influencers over the last couple of years, and to be honest with you, I find 99% of them really annoying, because what it is in many cases, it's people who are either good looking or very good at doing videos, but what they do is just share them. And so whether doing makeup or eating their dinner or turning up at the opening of an envelope and going, hi, look at me, I'm great, look at me, I'll do all this stuff. And it's almost like it hasn't got any substance. This is why I find so fascinating about the industry icon. You have to have substance. You have to be in your lane, in your interest. You have to be able to turn around in your specific niche and turn around and share with everybody your expertise. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So with that, let's have a look at the future of influencer marketing. Now, this is on a website called ShaneBarker.com. So I guess Shane has written this. Thank you, Shane, for everything. I'm going to share with you now what Shane perceives to be the 5 things that you need to know. And this was updated on May 2020. So some really interesting insights I'll get here to share with you to expect from the future of influencer marketing. Now, if you're wondering about influencer marketing, what generally happens is you've got these superstars who go out on a particular platform, Instagram, Facebook, might be all of them, LinkedIn. And what happens is generally they're paid to talk about stuff, paid to arrive at something, to wear certain clothes, to try out makeup. Think Kardashians. So they've either got their own brand, if they get to the highest level, or they're used for launching brands. Now, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes having a huge audience doesn't guarantee that people are going to buy anything. And that can really come back and bite people. I know of a story about an influencer with millions and millions of fans who brought out a range of clothing, t-shirts and so on, and sold about 37 t-shirts. So it doesn't always work. You've got to have an audience that loves you, understands the relevance of you, and wants to be like you or wants to buy the stuff that you're talking about. Sometimes they find you fascinating, but they've got no interest in buying what you buy, and they're certainly not going to wear anything related to you. So you need to know what you do. So right now, a lot of companies are working with influencers, or at least it stopped during lockdown, because unless you're an influencer who can do a TV show like this, you're stuck in a position where there's nothing to go to. And if you can't go out and you can't do stuff, your audience may still be following you, but it's really hard for a lot of your influencers, so your sponsors, to want to invest money if you don't seem to do anything to earn it. That's a problem, a dilemma for many people I know who are influencers, are just earning nothing because their transferable skills are basically smiling at a camera. Do I sound like I'm being bitter now? I don't mean to be. I'm just saying that this is why what we're doing and talking about today is so important. So let's look at this. First of all, the emergence of influencer networks. Number one, the idea that when you get the influencers together, just like you saw in that last video in China, you create a TV station where they can all be there doing stuff on a regular basis. Now that's fascinating if you're an influencer, but better if you're running a TV network, because therefore you've got the ability to hire and fire people. If you're an influencer, you might be brilliant, you might have a big name, you might be able to be seen by millions of people, but you are expendable and you are swappable with somebody else. Even though you've created a brand, the power is always within the organization that's got a number of them. Think of about a football team versus a player. It's very rare to find a Messi or a Ronaldo that are so big, the rest of the team has to sort of play around them. In most cases, when the star player disappears, they just get another star player and carry on. Number two, the influence and the emphasis will be on micro-influencers. This is what I'm talking about, staying in your lane, staying in your niche. Not just any campaign, not just any product, but people who have a smaller following. So you might say, well, I haven't got millions of people going to watch me, Dave. You're not meant to have millions of people. I think that the micro-influencer space is somewhere between 10 and 100,000 followers. Maybe even 5,000 followers if you've got a particular niche that people love, like bonsai tree decorations, or look at bread making, for instance. How big is that around the world right now? So 10 to 100 million, sorry, 10 to 100 million, that's bonkers. 10 to 100,000 means that you answer your own messages. You look at what people are saying to you, and in real time, you can talk to people. They love that. They value that. If you get too big, so you have to have somebody else do it, or you get so big that you don't respond to them, people lose interest. Now, that might not necessarily be true for some of the huge powerhouses. You don't expect Kim Kardashian to reply to your tweet. But if you are doing something like, I don't know, like childcare, or you're doing something like showing people how to look after themselves if you're not feeling very well, or how to do fitness at home, or how to, I don't know, something that's more niche, then you'd want people to be able to talk to you directly because they help generate your content. And it also means that you feel that you're rewarding them and you've got a symbiotic relationship with them. That's why being a micro-influencer is a much better impact for where things are going in the future. You've got a direct line to those people. Number three, the increase of in-house influencer programs. Now, I work with organizations to do this, where I train their staff to become brands. Why should he do that? Well, because when they are become brands, they can put out social media, they can go to events, they can talk to friends, to family, to strangers, go and see clients representing. So everything they do when they're trained to makes a team of people who are already on your payroll, and they're real people. It's been shown that advertising doesn't work if you've got gorgeous actors anymore. Get somebody a little bit more ugly and people start believing that maybe they like that product. Watch it yourself. Look at the TV adverts that come up if you watch any national networks, and see the difference between a real person saying, I bought this drink because I like the taste of it and my family loves it too, and we show some kind of ugly people behind them, or somebody who goes, I love this because I look great. You can't identify with that person, but you can if I'm getting to deep water now, ugly people. I don't mean that. I just mean the fact is that people want real people. That's what they want now, not hand-picked, artificial stuff. Okay, stricter guidelines for advertising. Now, this is key as well, because what's going to happen, and it's already there in many places, certainly in Dubai, you've got to be registered as an influencer if you are a so-called influencer earning from sponsors. And also, one of the things that happens as well is if you are talking about a brand and they're paying you, you should say, I'm being paid by this brand. Not just, this is my humble opinion. Otherwise, people start to buy stuff that's rubbish because they know that you've got big following and a big influence, and it could be utter tack. You've got to turn around and say, look, you know, I'm being paid by these guys, but I also believe in the product. Let me share it with you. That is fine, but it's important, and this will be covered by the guidelines of advertising to make sure that you don't get fake news or fake advertising, because otherwise a lot of people will be upset and they will demand money back and the whole ecosystem falls down, and you as an influencer don't want to be blamed for that, because where are you going to hide? And number 5, the rise of CGI influencers. Think about this. Big problem for many of the influencers when they're working with an organization is ego. They get elevated to a position where suddenly they're really famous, nobody recognizes them, and anything they do, darling, people love what I do. Yes or no? But with technology now, artificial intelligence, with the ability to map and create avatars, many brands are turning around and saying, you know what, we don't actually need a person. Can we just have a cartoon version? It doesn't have to be a cartoon. You've got enough technology now to be able to map a face onto somebody else's face in real time. So for instance, if I could have, for instance, I don't know, Donald Trump's face. There's a thought. Donald Trump's face, and you could use the software to map out every muscle, excuse me, on my face. So if I start moving and smiling, you won't see me. You'll see Donald Trump moving and smiling. You can even use it so I can write a script that he will say, or they can map it by knowing exactly how he will say things, so as I speak it will come out as him. Fake and available as we speak. So the influencers of the future, well, many of them will be real, and they'll be real people, but many brands are saying, you know what, I can control this. I can use it 24 hours a day. I can use it and it can speak all these different languages, and it never gets tired, and I just go off when I don't need it anymore. That's another thing that's going to make a huge impact in the future of influence. So when I talk about the industry icon, and I talk about the need to position yourself as a real influencer, but also in your niche and in your particular expertise, this is the gap. These guys here, when it comes to influencers, they've already been on the scene, and I can't believe they lasted as long as they did, but the ecosystem is great for advertisers because they suddenly had a new way of saying, spend money with us, we've got all these guys that can promote your stuff, so pay that and I'll make it happen. But the key to it is TV shows that you can generate. And when you understand how that works, there's a whole new game that you can play. Now, next up, what we're going to do is go to the cheat sheets, and I'm going to share with you what it really means to start generating that content and how to get your mind in the right place for being an industry icon. I love your thoughts. I love your comments. As always, I comment on everything in real time when you send it to me, and I hope you're enjoying the show. This is Speak on Stage. So now as we go to the cheat sheets, I'm going to share with you what the Industry Icon program is all about. This is where I work with people, coach them, and train them to be really influential so they make a huge difference to themselves and also to their market. It's a really cost-effective way of positioning yourself, if you haven't thought of it before, by becoming an industry icon. And yes, industry is anything. You don't have to be in a particular, like the best spot welder in the world. You could be the best spot welder working on car parts, or working on chassis, or working on jewelry. I'm sure you'd melt most of it, but you get the general idea. You niche it right down, and the more you can niche it, so it becomes something that only a small group of people would love, the more they will love you emotionally, the deep dive to connect with you. And you're talking about 5 to 6 to 7 potential billions of people that would love what it is that you do. Now, as a micro-influencer, all you need to do is score 10 to 100,000, and you've got an ecosystem that will pay your bills, and you can do what you love on a daily basis doing a show like I'm doing right now. So first of all, what you've got to do is, point number 1, decide to dominate in your industry regardless of the steps that you're going to have to take. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It will not be easy. It's a challenging thing. But if you ultimately want to make money, and today's show is all about this, if you want to be able to do something that monetizes what you do, and you do it every day, and it's perfect for a lockdown situation and mentality, then this is the best thing you could consider. Number 2 is this. Once you've decided I'm going to dominate, it doesn't mean horrible dominate, it just means you're going to take it seriously, then you have to then consider doing something that most people aren't doing. It does mean challenging, but it also means choosing what you're going to be niche in. You might have a number of different things. Remember I showed you that hedgehog diagram earlier with the 3 different circles? Well, this is what you've got to consider. the hedgehog. What is your niche? What is the thing that you're going to stay inside? And that means staying inside your lane. What's my niche? I train people to be industry experts. That's it. I teach people how to speak, and speaking is very effective, but it's personal branding combined with speaking, making videos, making audios, positioning yourself so when it comes to somebody saying, who should we get in? Word of mouth works better than Google ads. They say, oh, work with this guy. What's his name? I've got his detail. In fact, it's his show. Watch his show. People say, oh, that's interesting. What else does he do? I said, well, I'm not really sure, but when you see this, you'll know. For instance, if you're a plumber, if you're a plumber and you basically do a video show once a week, a couple of times a week, of you going around to people's houses and you video what you do to fix stuff. As you talk about it and you share it, people will turn around who live in your location and say, you know what, I really like this guy, why don't we get him in to fix stuff? And if they don't get you because you're too far, then maybe they'll buy your book, maybe they'll buy your coaching course on home DIY or whatever it is that you create as a spin-off of it. I've got something in my eye, haven't I? And you're saying, Dave, why didn't you fix it before you came on? I didn't know I had it. It didn't happen until now, but now it's gone. So thank you for laughing. We'll carry on. Number 3, develop your personality. Now you might probably saying, oh Dave, my personality is not like you. You've just talked for about 40 minutes and you've not stopped. How can I do that? You don't need to. You don't need to talk as long as me. You just need to be able to explain to people who like what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. Give them the ability to choose how much they like you. So your personality could be very, very slight because it's very intimate. This is a one-to-one medium. This is not me saying to 1,000 people, hi, I'm Dave Crane, come on, let's party. This is me talking to you, only you. And as such, I don't need to have the same energy. Because if I slow it down and talk like this, and don't drive it with the same kind of momentum, you will still stay with me. When I turn around and say, right, I'm going to look at something now, I'm going to design something for you, just let me take a drink. Thank you. And next time I'm going to share with you a point that really makes a big difference for you. Then you're intrigued to find out what it is. Number 4, create your personal brand. This as an ongoing process. And I'll share with you how you do that. Your personal brand is not just your business. It can be, but more than likely it's your name. One of the things that social media has given us is given us the ability to go online and look for people's LinkedIn, look for their Facebook, look for their Instagram, look for their Twitter feed, and you get to have a really good idea about who that person is, what their values are, and what it would mean to do work with them. So creating your own personal brand, there's nothing better than your own TV show, especially as a perception by most people, which is if you've got a TV show, you were given it by a network. Right now, the networks are tearing their hair out. They've got these massive production things with all these mouths that have to be paid. You don't. You just need to do it yourself at home. And at some point, I'll show you the setup I have in here. And it's literally 2 computers, a laptop right in front of me, which I haven't even used. Got a big Mac here as well, some lighting, some cameras, and the rest of it is something that makes this noise. That's not bad. So number 5, bring into sync your business brand. So you got your personality brand, and your business brand. You need to have the 2 together because if all you are is a personality, nobody will know how to work with you. Now this is really important. Let me explain why this is so important. Because there are influencers right now, and I do a lot of work on LinkedIn, for instance. I love LinkedIn because it's really boring. So it's quite easy to do a lot of stuff that people love. Whereas if you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram, the experts are already dominating that. TikTok, it's really hard, but LinkedIn is still relatively easy. But what most people do is they share content that other people go, wow, that's really beautiful, you're really smart. Or they share life coaching content that's ultimately clickbait. So people look at it, they go, I like it, love it, great, fantastic, whatever. And they get like 100,000 views. But nobody knows what they actually do for a living. So what you've got is vanity metrics. You've got a load of people saying, that's fantastic, but they don't pay you money. And if they find out what you really do for a living, they go, oh, okay, well, keep posting those things. I like them, but I don't know how I can help you, or you could help me. And you're an accountant. Okay, well, I make cheese. So I don't know, maybe you could do my cheese accounts? Not really, but keep posting those things about, life, because I really like them. So unless you are posting about your industry. Now, the thing is, if you're an accountant, do a TV show about accounts. I won't watch it, but I know there are thousands upon millions of accountants who would love it, and tons of small business owners who would love to know how to do their accounts properly. See what I mean? So let's look at this. Declare war on something and see reactions. Now, declaring war sounds like a terrible thing to do. It's not. It just means that you've got to have an enemy. And when you get your enemy together, it means that people gravitate towards you. So, for instance, my war is in many ways on education. We were never taught to do this stuff. We were never taught to speak on stage. We were never taught. We were taught to shut up and sit down and don't speak unless you're spoken to. But now you've got to grow your brand. We're taught at school a load of stuff that really doesn't work. You're told at school not to copy people's work. What do you think has made China so brilliant in the tech industry? They're looking around at all the Apples and all the Samsungs and saying, wow, that's a great idea. Let's create something. Yeah? And reverse engineering is a major part of it. Copying, you're not allowed to do that at school. Everybody copies. What about sitting together in a huddle and cheating? No, it's called collaboration. It's called joint partnerships. Why should you work on your own in a silo and see how good you are for no points when you could work with other people, have a lot more fun, and just create new content, new products, new services? My battleground is against education, which beats all this stuff out of you. Then you leave school and they say, right, if you want to be successful, work with these guys over here and find out what our competition's doing, and also think out the box. Don't think about what you learned. Think about stuff you haven't learned yet, because that's what's going to give us an advantage. Be really creative. And that's very rarely what you learn from school. That's my thing. So when I talk about that, some people who are educators go, Dave, you're right. Some people who fell foul of education go, yeah, Dave, you know what? You're absolutely right. I've become a millionaire, and for nothing I learned from school. But there are a lot of people who hate what I say. There's a ton of people who turn around and say, Dave, you're talking rubbish about that. I like that fact. Because as they decide that I'm wrong, at least they're paying attention to it. And it shows that I'm reaching a nerve that affects people. Number 6, create original content and amplify the reach of your content. So you want to be able to reach more people as you do it and grow it. Make it original, because it's got to be something that you can't be accused of plagiarizing and stealing from other people. If you do steal from other people, they get really upset, and it doesn't have to be, because if you're staying in your niche and in your particular market, people will just go, that's great, and I love what you do because you know your stuff really well. You're not talking about stuff you don't know. Why would you bother? Number 8, this is the business model, right? I'm just going to move my head to one side, and you can see this here. Starting off with your TV, then you go to your podcast, then your blog, then you create social media posts, and then you turn up at events as the expert in all the above. Now, events may not exist in the same way as they used to at the moment, because you can't go to an event without social distancing, and in many cases it's not cost effective, but lots of events are happening online. Conferences, all the same conferences that you used to love are happening online somewhere in the world, and in many cases, as they step up the quality of what they provide, instead of having 50,000 people come through this big conference center, they might have 100,000 going through instead, but online from their homes, spending 2-3 days in the comfort of their own home, networking, looking at how they can do stuff together, and watching all the presentations. It still works. So consider that this is now part of your new world that you should be a major part of. And if you don't, then somebody else will do it. Number 9, get a mentor. Why should you get a mentor? You need to get somebody who knows what they're talking about. Why? Because you are too close to your own subject sometimes to be objective. You sometimes drink too much of your own Kool-Aid, and especially if you're in lockdown, you spend too much time in your own head. Everybody I work with, and I work with experts who are experts already, when I start coaching them, and I turn around and say, have you considered doing it that way instead? They go, oh my goodness, you're so right. I've always done it this way. And of course you have, because you can only argue with yourself if you're working in a vacuum. You need a mentor who's been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and half the time my job is just to ask them questions to crystallize as a coach what it is that they already know, but just to do it better. Every single time I do it with people, and it doesn't matter what level they are, the results are fantastic, and they get much more financially out of what they did before, because they've managed to crystallize something that's no longer available or never has been on the market, but they're the only supplier of it. So get a mentor because you are too close. And then moving on to this one, which is this. Talk to Dave Crane. That's me, folks. How are you? So I mentioned earlier that you can do the survey, and the survey is really effective for you. All you have to do is go to Speak on Stage, press the industry icon button, and then go to take the survey. It's all free, and I get a copy of the details of what you've had, what your score says, and then we get together and we'll talk about what you can do next. Some people I work with instantly because they're ready and they're good to go. Some people I say to them, no, go away and work on your stuff first because you're not quite at that point where you could do something with it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If you're enjoying this, by the way, it's the industry icon section on Speak on Stage. So I mentioned earlier about this, and I showed it when you first joined me on the show, about the Speak on Stage. You got to go to the website, which has me on it at the moment. Look at me looking windswept and grey. In fact, I don't look so grey there. That's what lockdown's done for me. Beautiful. You wouldn't think I'd turn into Morgan Freeman and looked 80 years old, but as you can see quite clearly, I have. Go to that site, go and press the button that on this side says Industry Icon. Click on that, it'll take you to a page, scroll down that one, and you see here, take the free survey, just next to me here, okay? Click on that, it's completely free, and then you can find out how you are positioned and how you can see yourself in the market. And once you've done that, you can also look on the site as well, on Speak on Stage, and these are all the things that I help people with, developing their website, how to travel the world for free as an international speaker, stay in the best hotels, because it won't stay like this forever. How to earn from your laptop now with digital stagecraft, to be paid to turn up and talk about the stuff that you love with web TV show, to be connected with sponsors paying for you, get connected to the biggest names in your industry, have people recognize you wherever you go, and be seen as a thought leader and industry expert and a high achiever. If that interests you, then this is really for you. So all you need to do is contact me directly, let me know in the chat here or on LinkedIn or whatever, send me a message, or even better, go to do the survey and then you'll get an email sent to you. From the email, just book a Calendly link and we can get together. As I mentioned, as soon as I finish this show, I've got back-to-back clients all the way through where I'm going to be talking to them about how they can reposition themselves and become incredibly successful in their own niche, doing what they love. I'll give you a little sneaky peek of the industry icon roadmap. Everything is mapped out and I improve this all the time. So have a quick look here. I'm not going to stay long in it because this is a trade secret. See, here we go. Number 2, all the things you need to be doing. You need to look at social media, partnerships, online stores, award ceremonies, stakeholding, your coaching course, your mentoring, the tech integration, the cross-pollination with other people, sponsorship. All these things are so important. And that's all what gets you to that position. I will guide you step by step. I'll be there holding your hand and working with you to get the roadmap to implement it and help you create whatever's right for you. It might not be a TV show. It might not be a podcast. It might be just making relationships and selling better with the existing products and services you have. They all come together as part of your ecosystem, so you'll end up doing what you love easily and be seen by everybody as the best at what you do. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's all about your industry icon positioning. It's all about Speak on Stage. I really do urge you, especially if you're thinking, I'm starting a new business, how can I get the branding right? How can I connect with people? How can I get a global market to love me and want to work with me just doing what I do? I love what I do, but most people don't understand it. Yeah, that's because you don't want to talk to most people. You want the people who do understand it. So conventional ways of doing it are not the right way to do it. If you do a TV show, supposing you get 100 people watching, that's 100 people, of which maybe 10 of 10%. So maybe if you've got 10 people who want to take action and one of those 10 people buys, for that show, you've made a sale just by broadcasting. Then there's ways of putting it onto YouTube and chopping it up and doing the virtual. In fact, we're not even talking about technology as part of this whole game. When you start adding extra elements to it, the mailing list and all the different ways that people can reach you and touch you and connect with you, and collaboration, so you get people's lists and your lists working together. They interview you, you interview them, and all the other stuff. And you'll see it being done in this show. Suddenly, your sales go through the roof. And you're doing what you love in your own house. Does that interest you? It should do. It's a license to print money. So that's the Industry Icon program. Every day or every other day we do a show. Every episode is about something to teach you and train you and help you grow yourself as an expert in what you do. If you're interested in the Industry Icon program, connect with me directly. If you just want to know more about any other subject, let me know in the comments. Tell me the subjects you'd like me to cover and I'll do a deep dive into those. For many people, this is the most challenging time of all time, and it's easy to see that and it's easy to feel it, but let's look at it with reality. This is what we have. We do have a world that's been turned upside down by a pandemic. It won't be there forever. But what it does is it's put a reset button on everything. The world is frozen for now, but it will start moving again, and some people have already started moving. It's the early adopters that are going to find the success, and that's why I want you to be one of them. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm going to leave you with an inspirational message with how to redefine yourself and how to do it every single day. It's been a pleasure having you here with me. My name's Dave Crane. Look after yourself, stay groovy, go to Speak on Stage, do the survey, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Thank you. I want to ask you a question. What defines you? What if you lost your money, you lost your job, you lost your house, you lost your shoes, you lost your friends, you lost the ability to turn around and say to people, this is what I want from my life? What if you had no rights? What if you had no clothes? What if you had nowhere to live? What if your passport went and you lost your ability to take a plane to anywhere in the world? What if a bank didn't recognize you? What if nobody recognized you? What if you lost your health? And on top of that, you lost your will? What would you be after all those things? The truth is, you would still be you. Your phone, your gadgets, the people around you, they're what define you right now, but that's not who you truly are. The person you truly are is whoever you decide that you're going to be. And you can decide that person every single day. Every day you have a choice. You can stay where you are. You can look at the past. You can look at all the trophies on the shelf and the photos and the selfies of the places that you've been and the people you've met, and you can say, that is me. Or you can say, that was me yesterday. The one that comes today and the one that comes tomorrow. It could be anybody. And the adventure is, I'm going to define them right now. And that's why you create a roadmap and you define yourself every single day.